If it was the baby.
Okay, so my name is Jimmy Cavallero, and today's lesson is for Module 7. The lesson is called Contextualized Vocabulary. The standards we are going to be looking at are using sentence-level context as a clue to the meaning of a word or phrase, and determining or clarifying the meaning of unknown and multiple meaning words and phrases based on second grade reading and content. The learning objectives of today are to understand new vocabulary words with 100% accuracy after working with them. And the prerequisites for doing this are to understand basic reading strategies, basic writing skills, and various strategies for identifying unknown words. Don't look at the camera, look at me. Materials we need are the vocab words that I've chosen, copies of the passage that we'll be reading, which you have one, your writing notebook, which I have down here, and writing utensils, which I have provided for you as well. It should take about 15 minutes. The recommended group size is either small group and one-on-one, and we are going to be doing it obviously in a one-on-one environment. So what we are working on is learning some new vocabulary words that are within your grade, and we're going to learn about them in different contexts. So we're going to learn about the words in being used differently, but they still mean the same thing. That's what it means to use them in a different context, okay? So before we get into the story and start seeing the words, we're going to work with the 4 words that I've picked, okay? So I picked 4 words that I think are going to be good for you to understand so we can get into the story and see them in use, okay? So we're going to start off by using those words. I'm going to ask you a couple questions and we'll work with them together, and then we'll find them in the story, okay? So our 4 words are, you ready? Our 4 words are sympathy, assertive, aggressive, and wandered. Those are the 4 words that we're going to be using today and that we're going to be working with and kind of diving in to understand, okay? So the first word that we're going to work with is sympathy. Now, sympathy is a feeling of pity or sadness for somebody else's situation. So for example, I don't know if you heard about it, but there was a big storm that wiped out a lot of people's crops, and then wiped out a lot of their corn and beans and stuff out in Iowa. So for example, I have sympathy for the people who lost their crops to the storms. So that's how I would use sympathy in a sentence. So I feel bad or I feel sadness for their situation. So I feel sympathy.
Oh, I felt bad when Aunt Nora got in the hospital.
Yep, so that was, you just used it, but I was just going to ask you, can you think of a time you felt sympathy for somebody?
When my friend broke his leg and couldn't play at recess and had to sit and watch everyone playing ball another game.
Perfect. That's a great example of sympathy. So you sympathized with him because his leg was broken and he couldn't play with you. So you felt, yeah, he couldn't play with anybody because his leg was broken. That's a really good example of sympathy. So that's the first word we're going to be looking for in our story, okay? Well, that's one of our words. It probably won't be the first, but that's one of our words. All right, this next one, you ready? Is assertive. Say it with me. Assertive. Perfect. So being assertive is when you are being confident and sure of something without being aggressive. So as an example, it's okay for students to be assertive when they think they have the correct answer. So if a student is confident and they're really sure of their answer, it is okay for them to be assertive about it because they're not being aggressive. They're just being confident and they're sure of what they're saying. So can you describe a time that it would also be okay to be assertive? When would it be okay to be that confident and sure of yourself?
When you're in front of everyone in a race.
When you're winning a race? That kind of works. Let's keep thinking. Let's keep brainstorming. Let's think of another time it would be okay to be. What about situations where you feel like you're confident and sure that you're doing the right thing as a child? Like, is it okay to be assertive to your parents? Yeah, absolutely.
And telling them the truth?
Well, yeah, telling them the truth, or if you're really confident about something you did, or you're really sure about something, a decision that you made, or something like if you change something in your room, or if you really want to paint your room a new color, or you really want to change your wardrobe or something. It's okay to tell your parents that and be assertive and be confident in your answer.
So for like I move things around?
Right. If you move things around and I tell you that I don't think it's a good idea, but you really believe in it and you're confident that you think that the way you moved your room looks really good, it's okay to be assertive about that without being aggressive.
I want to move my room.
And it's important that we pay attention to that without being aggressive part, because aggressive is our next word, right? So that is assertive. So it's being confident, it's being sure without being aggressive. So we're going to jump right into aggressive because it's in that description. So when you're aggressive, this is what you don't want to be when you're being assertive. When you're being aggressive, you are angry and you are ready or likely to attack. So it's when you're very angry and you're very on the urge of just attacking. So an example of aggressive would be the man who was robbing the bank was very aggressive when he was taking the money. Can you think of something that might make someone aggressive?
If they lost a race when they were winning?
If they lost the race after they were winning? What would that look like if they were aggressive after the race?
I don't know.
It could make them aggressive, but what would it look like? What does that look like?
I
Just
don't want to.
no, don't show me. Tell me. Tell me what would they be looking? What would you see?
They would be yelling no.
They'd be yelling, yeah. What would they be doing to the person who probably beat them?
Attacking.
Attacking, right? They'd be raging. They'd be in their face. They'd have their fists raised.
They'd run after them.
Yeah, they could run after them. Yeah. So that's a good example. If they could be aggressive after they lost the race that they thought they were winning. So if they're being aggressive, they're in their face, they've got their fists up, they're chasing them. Those are all signs of aggression. That's a good example, Liv. All right. Our last word is going to be wandered. So wander or wandering is walking around slowly or casually without direction or purpose. So if you're just wandering around, you're not really doing anything. You're just kind of walking around, just going nowhere. So for example, we wandered around the mall for a bit before our mom picked us up. Can you think of a time that you just wandered around?
There was this one time I saw you coming in and I just walked off.
So you were wandering around the front of the school waiting for me to pick you up?
Even though you were already here, I just walked off.
Well, that's just rude, first off. Second off, but yeah, when I'm coming to pick you up from school and you're just walking around the front without direction or not doing anything in particular, that's wandering. So you're just wandering around. You just wandered around waiting for me to pick you up. Can you think of another example of when we just wandered around?
When I was.
What about when we go to the zoo?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. And when we go to Funplex, just walking around trying to find rides.
Yeah, when we're walking around Funplex, we're not going somewhere on purpose. We're just wandering around looking at stuff, trying to decide what we want to ride, right?
It's not that good of a one because you might have an idea of where to go, and that's why you're going.
Well, yeah, if you have a specific ride in mind, then you're not wandering. But if we, like when we first get there and we don't know what we want to do, we just wander around Funplex, don't we? Okay, so those are our 4 words. You want to say them with me one more time so we can listen for them? You ready? Sympathy. Sympathy.
Sympathy.
Yep, sympathy. Assertive.
Assertive.
Aggressive.
Aggressive.
Wandered.
Wander.
All right, so those are our 4 words we're going to be looking for in our story, okay? And then when we get through our story, you're going to read and I'll follow along with you and I'll help you if you come across any errors. So we both have a copy of our story?
You start working on errors?
No, just I'll help you if you start struggling, is all I'm saying. All right, hold on. Sit up straight, get confident, be assertive. All right, you ready? All right, read loud and clear, okay?
The smell of popcorn was in the air. I could hear kids laughing and screaming. People were everywhere. The breeze felt warm on my skin. It was a perfectly day at the amusement park.
Want me to go? My family and I wandered around the park.
I heard wander.
Yeah. Getting snacks and going on rides. I loved almost all types of rides. I loved to go fast and to spin around, to go down hills and to get splashed. The only rides I didn't like were rides that turn you upside down. My little brother Ben didn't like those either, but my older sister Laura loved them. When we finally were near a ride that went upside down, she started asking me to go with her. I told her I don't like those rides, but she kept asking. Then she started whining because she didn't want to go alone. I was feeling sympathy for her, so I started thinking that maybe I should go with her, even though I really don't like to go upside down. I looked to my parents for help.
So I go ahead?
Yep.
Now, you are allowed to stand up for yourself. If something makes you feel really uncomfortable, you can tell people no. You can tell people no. It's okay to tell her that you love her, but that you can't go with her because going upside down makes you uncomfortable. Be strong but kind when you tell her so that she knows you're serious. Mom said, I don't want to make Laura mad or sad, though, I replied to Mom, and I don't want her to think I'm being mean.
Yeah, all right, you ready?
I have 2 lines.
You did. You pay attention because here's our last 2 words, okay?
Yeah.
There's a difference between being aggressive and being assertive.
I heard them.
Yeah, okay. Pay attention to what she says here. You're not saying no to be mean to Laura or to hurt her feelings. You're just listening to your own feelings to make sure you stay safe. It's fine to tell her no for this, Mom answered. The same goes for Laura. If you ask her to arm wrestle and she doesn't feel comfortable, she's allowed to say no. We are all allowed to stand up for ourselves and make sure we stay safe. Does that make sense? Yes, thanks, Mom, I said. I told Laura that I love her and like to do things with her, but that I wasn't comfortable going on upside down rides today because they scare me. She was sad, but went on the ride by herself and was really happy when it was over. We had a great rest of the day at the amusement park. All right, now just to go back to those words that we heard, okay? Here, you can keep your copy in case you need to see them. I'm going to ask you some questions about the words and how they were used in the story, okay?
I only saw 3, but there was 4.
Which one did you miss?
What are the 4 words again?
I think you missed sympathy, didn't you? You ready? When we finally were near a ride that went upside down, she started asking me to go with her.
Oh,
I told her I don't like those rides, but she kept asking. Then she started whining because she didn't want to go alone. I was feeling sympathy for her, so I started thinking that maybe I should go with her, even though I really don't like to go upside down. I looked to my parents for help. All right, so I'm going to ask you some questions just to get your understanding of these words, okay? Do you think Ben felt sympathy for his older sister too? Now, Ben's the younger brother, not the one that she talked to, okay?
No.
You don't think Ben felt sympathy?
No, because he really doesn't like them either.
He doesn't like them either, but could he have sympathized with Laura too? What would that look like if Ben was feeling sympathy for Laura too?
He looks sad and a little worried.
Right, he would look a little sad because he feels bad because Laura is really upset that she has to go alone on that ride. So if Ben was sympathizing with Laura too, he might be showing sadness, he might be
worried that he's hurting her feelings.
Yeah, or he might want to go on a ride too to make her feel better, even though he doesn't like him either. So if Ben was to sympathize with her, it would look like he was sad and didn't know what to do. Just kind of the way Steve was, huh?
Yeah, but this looks like an upside down ride.
I know, it does look like an upside down ride. Okay.
It is.
All right, we're on to assertive, okay? In what other ways could Steve be assertive at the amusement park?
Steve?
Yep, the main character, the kid who was talking to his mom about not wanting to go upside down.
Was that the boy?
That's the main boy. What other ways could he be assertive?
I see that Laura's riding with him on this map.
Don't worry about that picture, Liv. You gotta think about what I'm asking you. In what other ways could the boy be assertive at the amusement park?
Thinking.
Okay, I'll give you a minute.
Because he was too small to ride some rides, but his big sister was big enough to. But she had to go alone because her pants were too big to ride.
How would that be being assertive?
Because she had to go alone and it was a scary ride. Because it'd go upside down 5 times.
Yeah, that could be a scary ride, but how is that being assertive? And being assertive is when you're confident and sure about something. And you're being assertive without being aggressive.
I don't.
What if the boy really wanted a hot dog and his whole family was going to go get pizza? Could he be assertive in the fact that he wants a hot dog without being aggressive?
They said this actually happened in real life with us. Remember you said we'd get Burger King, but then we got the spaghetti place?
Yeah.
So here's what I'm thinking. They said we could get hot dogs, but instead everyone wanted pizza.
Okay, and how could the boy be assertive in that situation?
Because he was so happy to have hot dogs and so assertive that it wouldn't get ruined in the garbage by getting pizza.
Not quite. Remember, assertive is being confident. How could he assert himself in getting what he wanted? If his whole family went to go get pizza and he wanted hot dogs, how could he be assertive? How could he be confident and show that his parents that he wants hot dogs and not pizza?
Telling them that he wants hot dogs instead of pizza.
Right, he could bring it up to them, he could tell them, he could explain why he wants hot dogs, he's not hungry for pizza. And he can do that without being aggressive, right? He can be assertive to his parents without being aggressive. They might still say no, but he can be assertive, right? Like you can still make your case and you can still try and defend what you believe in and what you're confident in without being aggressive about it, right? Yeah. Okay. That one's a big word. That one's kind of tough. That one might be a third grade word.
Yeah, it is.
So aggressive in the story, okay? Here's another story question. If Ben had responded to his sister aggressively, what would that have looked like?
I don't want to go to the ride. I told you no.
Right, yelling. What else might he do if he was being aggressive? Right, putting his fist in her face and getting ready to attack her.
And showing his teeth.
Yeah, and showing his teeth. Yeah, that's all signs of aggression because he's really mad that he doesn't want to go with Laura, right? So instead of being assertive, he could have been aggressive.
I hear a baby.
Don't worry about it. So he could have been aggressive, right? That's what that would have looked like. Raising his fists and baring his teeth and maybe even attacking Laura, right? Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
All right. The last word was wandered. What other trips could this family take where they might end up wandering around?
The zoo.
Right, they could go to the zoo and wander around the zoo.
Aquarium.
The aquarium, good, good. Where else could they go and they wander around?
The park.
Yeah, they can go to the
For a
park.
walk.
They can go for a walk and just wander around, not having any direction or where they want to go. Beach, yeah, those are all really good examples of places they could go and wander around,
They can
right?
go back home and just wander around.
Right, they can wander around their house if they wanted to. Absolutely. Okay, so for this last part, here's what I want you to do, okay? I want you to, here's all 4 words, they're at the top and they're bolded out. I want you to
What?
write a sentence with each word, okay?
What?
That is the last task of this lesson. So you're just going to write 1 sentence using each word, okay? You don't need to cry. When you're done with that, you're going to turn it in and then I will check it for you, okay? So that'll be the show me what you know here, okay? So think about all the things we talked about, how you can use that word, how it looks in different sentences, in different contexts, and then you just write a sentence using that word in whatever context you want, okay? Then when you're done, you'll turn it in to me, okay?
Daddy, this is not a question, it's story. It's not even synthopy or anything.